Your prospecting routine needs to include marketing tasks that are due, client check-ins, and follow-up communication with prospects. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be systemized, it should be scheduled, and it should be clear. If we haven't met yet, I'm Stefanie Lugo, and I am obsessed with helping real estate agents across the country and beyond create the business and life of their dreams using strategies just like this. So if you're into that kind of thing, be sure to hit subscribe to this channel and hit that bell notification icon to be notified every time I'm dropping new videos just like this. Here's the thing, it is exhausting waking up every day, as we do as real estate agents, with a million things in our head on our to-do list and not having any idea which order or priority to do them in, especially in a business like real estate where boundaries can be pretty hard to draw. So take Christina, for example, who is an agent in the Market Authority Academy. She's a loving mother to 6 and a devoted wife and member of her community. A busy lady like Christina, she has to have a pretty solid routine and rhythm to her workflow and her prospecting activities to make sure that she's getting the right things done, right? So working with Christina to dial in a rhythm that works for her, that's going to cover the prospecting duties that she needed to stay on top of, took her from closing 1 deal a month to 6. So if it can work for Christina, it's gonna work for you. I'm gonna share exactly how to build out your prospecting routine for your real estate business. Number 1, you need to schedule your prospecting routine into your calendar and act like it is an appointment with yourself. Now, you should have 2 hours delegated to this, but if you can't do just 2 hours, you can break it up a little if you need. So for example, if you are a mom realtor like I am with young kiddos at home, you might be a nap time warrior and you're gonna have to break up some of your more critical prospecting activities across different times of the day when baby's down or otherwise entertained. That's fine, but what you're shooting for here is a solid 2 hours devoted to prospecting activities that are going to move the needle in your business. So let's identify which tasks we're actually going to do every day so that we can get really diligent about scheduling in those individual tasks. Here's how I prioritize my workflow in my prospecting power hours. First, I'm working on my main marketing activities. These are marketing activities that I actually build out a year in advance as part of my business plan, and I'm scheduling them out quarterly with a little help from Asana. And I actually detailed this process in this video where you can check out a little more in depth, but stay with me here. We need to build your prospecting activities first. So number 1, we know that we're gonna do some marketing activities, things like newsletters, social media posts, etc. These are things that you need to get out of the way, but don't necessarily require direct contact with other people, right? So this isn't like your database calls. These are important marketing pieces, content maybe, that you're creating and distributing that's going to increase your brand awareness across different channels. I'm offering the suggestion to begin with these types of activities because this is going to create really great momentum so that you can then lead into the harder stuff later, right? We all love that feeling of checking off something on your list. And if you know that you need to get to your computer, draft or send out a quick drafted newsletter to your database, getting that done in about 10 or 15 minutes is really gonna help give you that boost to get the next thing done, you know? By the way, this is stuff that you should begin delegating as soon as you can. So once you get this really systemized and dialed in, this is one of those first things you're gonna delegate to an assistant or a marketing assistant who you might bring on in the future. And then I'm usually ending this portion of my prospecting routine with my social media posts, right? So I'm going straight into social media. I might be sharing my posts onto LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And from there, I'm going to dive into the next part, which is my engagement on social media. So social media engagement, this is the next section of our prospecting. Remember, a lot of the activities with intention on social media is actually going to result in prospecting activities. So this is going to be stuff that's going to lead to conversations and booked appointments in the direct messages or an iMessage, depending on which platform you're hanging out on. For me, my engagement on Instagram is super simple these days. I follow what we call in the Market Authority Academy the 10 by 10 by 5 rule. So this looks like engaging with 10 stories across the top on the feed of Instagram, engaging with 10 posts in the feed down, and then going into the explore page where I'm finding 5 new pieces of content from accounts that I don't already follow and engaging with those, following some that look like interesting accounts to follow, or even DMing other local businesses that might be a good fit for my network. By the way, this 10 by 10 by 5 rule is one of the easiest ways to increase your reach and engagement on Instagram, and something that we do religiously in the Market Authority Academy. So after you've done that engagement, you may have begun some conversations in the DMs. So you are sending out comments and leaving direct messages on stories and posts, all this stuff that can result in some engagement right away. If that's leading into a conversation, I'm going to see where that conversation goes on Instagram, for example, and see if that's something that I can actually create an opportunity out of. If not, if I'm done with my engagement and there's really nothing there for me at that moment, I'm going to then move into the next portion of our prospecting activities and go right into our follow-up calls. So this category is a lot of the calls that you need to be making on a regular basis. And you know your business best, so you will probably have a better idea of what this needs to look like for you. And I want you to get creative on what this should look like in your situation, because remember, everybody's business is different from the next. In the Market Authority Academy, we actually spend a lot of time individualizing this with our agents so that they wake up every day with clarity on exactly how this needs to look. But your calls could look like anything from following up with current prospects, clients you're already working with, right? Making your database calls. So we have a strategy on how often we're reaching out to our database contacts and what it is we're saying. And you might even be designating other calls and outreach in here as well. But this is going to be outgoing communication, whether you're making calls, or a lot of times this actually looks like texting for me too, depending on who it is. And to make it easy and keep it organized for me, I'm actually designating like theme days during the week. So on Monday, I'm making my database calls. On Tuesdays, I'm making my current client update calls for those who might already be in escrow or in the middle of their home search or pre-listing, etc., etc. And number 5, we're gonna leave off the last portion of this prospecting workflow with anything else. I know, very scientific, but what we're really trying to do is make sure that anyone that may have been missed, we're gonna hit those people next. So this might look like following up with appointments from the last day, reaching out to urgent leads who you are definitely trying to schedule showings with or other appointments with, and maybe even checking in on other current client transaction work like coordinating inspections or finalizing other calls with cross agents. We leave this last because a lot of times this can lead to appointments in the afternoon. And if we begin with that work, it can actually derail us from getting a lot of those important things done, because that can become feeling very urgent when we have fires to put out or very exciting appointments to attend. Now, you know yourself best, and if you think that you are going to get lost in the thick of creating marketing materials or lost in the scroll on social media, you may need to invert the order of these activities. And maybe you try it out. So one week you try it one way, the next week you try it another. Here's the thing, when you are systemizing your business, remember this video where I'm walking you through exactly how to create systems. One of the most important things we are doing is iterating. Okay, so we are iterating the process a couple of times before we settle in to one way of doing things. And we're going to constantly analyze the way that we're doing things to make sure it's going to continue working for us as our business evolves. Now, all of these activities should take you about 2 hours. And if you're spending any longer, you need to figure out where you're spending time and wasting time. Because remember, our work will expand to the time that we allow it. So you really have to make sure that you are being diligent on watching the clock and setting timers if you need to ensure that you're going to give yourself the urgency you need to just get it done. And there you have it. That is your prospecting routine. What do you think? I want you to commit this week to implementing your prospecting routine. And why don't you tell me what it looks like for you in the comments? Leave that below. I can't wait to see what you come up with your unique business. And if you want, I'll even kind of do a little prospecting audit for you, make sure that it all looks good, and we can check in from time to time to see how it's going. But of course, if you want to see real results in this area, I do want to invite you to apply to the Market Authority Academy. If you're the agent who's going to make this work for your business, then you're someone who I want to work with. And you can book a time to chat with me about the Academy. We'll discuss a little bit about where you're at, where you want to be. And if it seems like I can help, we'll decide if working together is a good fit. Really hope this helped give you some inspiration and motivation to getting out there and getting your prospecting done. And if it did, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon to be notified every time I'm leaving new videos on this channel just like this. Thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, keep on crushing it.